welcome to the Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear, and if you do, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Sensual Goat, Refracted Curvature, Adam, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
Yo!
Yo, good morning.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container?
Without a container, there can be no pressure.
Any evidence you can have pitch data on a globe?
No, pitch is from a horizontal plane.
But any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
If the baseline is curved, it's not an angle. And if it's not, and if the surface isn't your baseline, it's not an elevation.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
You're going to need a flat plane for that.
Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
Black swan.
Did I hear someone whisper Black Swan? Beautiful. Any
Yeah,
evidence?
that's correct. Black swan since 2020, January 2020, yes.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
You're going to need a flat plane for that as well.
Any scientific evidence of gravity? No? Any single viable
Need a
hypothesis
phenomenon.
from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Not science.
Yeah, it's a category error, right? They're all pseudoscience. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Center? No. The center of mass is perpendicular to the plane.
Alrighty then. Today we're covering a guy called Zack. Do you know what his full name is? Zack Star. Now, in the first 20 seconds, he's highlighted the fact that when he makes his average video, he might get 200 or 300 comments. Bearing in mind this guy's got millions of subscribers. But under a Flat Earth video, we'll get thousands of comments. And all I've done thus far is pointing out that, yes, generally speaking, if you're against the subject of Flat Earth, you will eat my YouTube lunch, metaphorically speaking. That's all you're experiencing. Anybody wanted to add anything to the preamble regards Zack Star, or well, just preemptively talk about whatever we're going to be doing here today with this particular response video? I suppose I could share it while everybody musters up what
What's
they
his
want.
name?
Zack Star.
That's Ringo Starr's son, Zachary Star.
Is it?
I don't know if it's the same guy, but yeah, that's Zachary Starr's Ringo's son. I don't know if it's him.
So is this guy going to be either insulting us and calling us stupid, or B, begging to take the flat Earth measurements and make a globe with it?
We're going to find out
Just
shortly.
one for I think it'll be both.
Could be both, yeah. Probably both. Anyway, please let this gentleman know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get eradicated by the YouTube censor bots, or indeed by Zack himself should he read it and take offence to your passive-aggressive comment. Just let him know in the politest possible way that we've covered his video. I don't know how we're going to cover this video or what the response will be at this particular stage in terms of what you might want to respond to him in that comment, but just let him know with a polite at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, to let him know that at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent you. Hopefully this will give you a few seconds to actually do that if you're in the live stream chat. I know we've only just started and there's just under 50 people watching, but if you are amongst the handful of people who are currently watching, because we've only just started, we took a little while to do housekeeping. But either way, please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. I'm not saying it for my health. I'm actually sincerely appealing to you in the live audience to do this as we speak, hence me repeating it over and over again in case you think I sound nuts. I am nuts, but that's not because I'm repeating myself over and over again in terms of you going to Zack Star and suggesting he does a response, perhaps. I don't know, I'd be so bold. It'd be nice. The whole idea of me suggesting that you go to him would be that if he was to respond, he'd do the same for me and send some of his audience my way. As he pointed out and was covered in the pre-show, he's metaphorically eating our lunch when it comes to Flat Earth and the direction that people will be sent if they search that subject. They certainly won't come to me. You know, I've got to pretty much e-beg for views by sending my audience to you in the vain hope that you might do the same in return. So everyone likes views, even if they've got millions of subscribers. Everyone likes comments, as this guy is pointing out. Perfect opportunity for me to tell you, the audience, to let him know. And in this instance, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me to bolster your thousands of comments that you get when you make a Flat Earth video. I think that's enough time. You can see the link, it's going by in the live stream chat. Hopefully Zack could do the same for me if he does a response. Hopefully we're positive about him, otherwise it's unlikely you'll want to make a response. We'll see how we get on.
The beach right on the horizon.
The subject matter I was just saying that the subject matter experts are going to make a response to his video. He should feel blessed.
Absolutely, I'm sure he'll have a fair crack, and we will do the same in return.
And I can see 2 islands. It's the furthest I can see. Those islands are at exactly 40 kilometers distance from
Flat Earth proven straight away. Hey, Zack. Let me introduce myself. My name's Nathan Oakley. And around these parts, if you were asserting that, you'd get the sharp end of my tongue. Now, I appreciate that you're just reading out a friendly comment, right? So I'm sure this won't get nasty quickly. But if you were to be suggesting this distance, linear, flat, to maybe, I don't know, debunk a flat Earth, I'd be yelling at you. The words I'd be yelling would be, don't use our stuff. Kilometres, you say? What, flat linear distance? Yeah, that will require Earth be a flat plane of reference if you're going to describe the distance in kilometres. So let's see where this goes. Nice that we were already proving flat Earth, though, eh?
me. So I can see the horizon and the beginning of the
Horizon, you don't have a horizon on a globe, so that's another 2 or 3 seconds gone in the video. Another flat Earth proven.
the curvature of the Earth at 40 kilometers. So
There is no curvature of the Earth at a flat Earth distance. The curvature of the Earth was debunked in 2020. Let me introduce you to the Black Swan. You may have heard it muttered in hushed tones during the housekeeping session earlier. Black Swan. If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to horizon, that's your Earth curve, measurement could be no more than 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet off a flat Earth, as dictated by your Earth curve maths that needs the height of your eye off a flat Earth. And the distance to horizon in the Black Swan image is beyond the geometric limitations as laid down in your Earth curve maths. Ergo, the horizon is not Earth curve. Black Swan, 2020.
So the 4.82 kilometers mentioned in this video might
Prove a flat Earth? No, definitely. There's no might about it.
be an error. It
Maybe. Either way, the flat Earth distance is linear in nature.
was not an error. That distance we found of 3 miles or
That won't work on a circle. It's a linear
Pause,
distance.
Nathan.
He's got to circle up. So, yes, go ahead.
So I just wanted to say,
that commenter was a baller who was disagreeing with him on where Earth curve should be. So it's kind of reminiscent of the Isle of Man days.
The baller's telling him off because he's got the distance to the geometric horizon we debunked in 2020 with the black swan. He thinks he should correct his brother in arms. Very amusing. Meanwhile, he's got a dude standing on a circle. How's he going to describe kilometres on this? You can't. Linear.
4.82 kilometers.
No. Do you think distance is measured with tangents to dingleberry dangling spheres beneath straight lines? No, the kilometres is going to be this straight line. The surface, well, that's not what you're measuring anymore, dum-dum. Got a line tangential to the surface of your ball that you aren't measuring anymore because you can't. Kilometres is linear. Now, you seem to understand that. Implicitly, you've drawn a straight line. With a dingling dangleberry. Well, what's all this about? What's that got to do with anything? If this is your surface, you'll need a straight line to measure it. And you're describing it in kilometres, a linear distance. Yeah? You can draw that on a flat map if you like. But you won't be drawing it with respect to a sphere. That's idiotic. What a dumbass. Now, this is Zack that's being corrected by another glober. Now, I'm sure this other glober's not correcting him in terms of the distance to horizon that we debunked by showing him how it isn't the distance to a measured horizon when we show how you can measure it beyond the limitations of a physical sphere edge that's been mathematicized by using a flat plane of reference to measure your height of eye above. Now, if they're saying, oh, well, when you measure your height of eye above a flat plane, parallel with it, you know how high in feet, also linear, off a flat Earth you are, you can derive a dip calculation, so long as you've got parallel eye and surface level, to infer that there's a geometric point of sphericity below surface level, and you've got it wrong. Now, this dickhead globe believer's not going to be correcting Zack in that regard. He'll just be telling him you've got the maths wrong. He won't be pointing out there's a flat surface level in the maths, or that it was debunked in 2020.
Not drawn to scale. Is
Scale? What are you talking about? You've still got a straight line for your miles or kilometres, haven't you?
the horizon the last piece of water you could see when...
No. That's idiotic. That is a... what's the word? Orthographic representation. Do you think a horizon is you seeing the side of your own smegging head? And a point, with you basically looking at it from space, tangential to a line describing a flat linear distance in kilometres? Well, this is utterly idiotic. No, you never get to see the side of your own head. This is not what a horizon looks like. Go and look at a horizon, Zack, you clown. Does it look like... do you think if you put an arrow pointing at a point tangent to a dingleberry with a straight line representative of a linear distance in kilometres, labelling it horizon in an orthographic view and putting a giant frickin' arrow does not make this a horizon? Go and look at a horizon and tell me if it looks remotely like this tangential point. No. Yeah? Maybe slap yourself around the face a few times, Zack, you stupid clown. This is not a horizon. Why would you put a big white arrow and write the word horizon? Yo, idiot. Points tangential to an orthographic ball aren't what horizons look like. Now go and look at a horizon, dumbass. Does it look like this? I'm going to go with no. Is it because you're orthographic, begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve maths works in orthographic view? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does, and it also has a surface level. And eye level. Tangential to it? No, it's parallel with surface level, dum-dum. Seems like you don't know your maths very well, Zack. Give this man millions of views and subscribers.
Looking out towards the ocean. Now, past...
No, you're looking out to the tangential point below surface level as dictated by your begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve maths that you just haven't labelled in this dingleberry orthographic view of the side of your own head.
That, you can't see the surface of the water.
Okay, you're not. We can't see any water. What are you talking about? We've seen the side of our own head in this view.
But you can see objects with height sticking out of the water.
Height? Oh, how are you going to measure that? Anybody? Anybody at all? How's he going to measure height? Would it be off surface level by
level?
any chance?
With respect to sea level?
Yeah, it'll be with respect to sea level. What's this dickhead got? Is this a... oh, what were the words I used earlier? Perspective hijacking version of reality, where whatever the hell this is, at a scale of, what, 5,000 miles away, he's going to suggest that it doesn't change in angular size. Yeah, not to scale much. No. It's called perspective hijacking. It's an orthographic view. These terms may be unfamiliar to Zack, the dick. But meanwhile, we don't see the side of our own head, and guess what, Zack? Hashtag shit shrinks. Stuff gets smaller into the distance. Not in Earth curve maths though, eh, Zack? This'll be measured in feet and not change at any distance. It wouldn't matter if we wrote 10 million linear flat Earth miles on this line. This, whatever it is, 100 foot, let's call it a sailboat. It's going to be 100 foot at a million miles. It doesn't matter. It won't ever change. It's a distance exclusive to perspective when he gives us his flat Earth kilometres and a, what quote, not to scale. No, hashtag not changing in angular size, because you don't see the world with the side of your own head in that view. Idiot, Zack. Now, my name's Nathan Oakley. I'm the one schooling on your stupid idiot assertions of a world where we see the side of our own head. Now, that's just your stupid begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve maths getting the better of you, sir. That's all that is.
Like islands or boats. They just have to be in this line of sight. In fact,
Sorry, line of sight with your own smegging head in it. With you looking at the side of your own head, tangent to a ball from space with an object that doesn't change its angular size. Yeah, this is stupid shit that we never see, Zack. Yeah? Line of sight, my ass!
in fact, using symmetry, we can put another person also
Using symmetry? Are you trying to use some clever words, Zack? Yeah, dum-dum, this is stupid, isn't it? Yeah, I hope you realise just how stupid it is that I'm pointing it out to you. Okay, Dumbo? We don't get to see the side of our own head.
also 6 feet tall.
Really? 6 feet tall? You're telling me that this man, what is it, 3,500, 4,000 miles away, is going to be capable of being seen? Oh yeah, because he's still 6 foot to a scale of 3,000 or 4,000 miles away. Yeah? Is that what you're telling us, eh, dum-dum? We can see the side of his head too, can we? This is idiotic, Zack. But yet we've still got our marked with an arrow horizon. Yeah, because Zack's been hoodwinked by Earth curve maths, where they have a marked with an X labelled horizon. Tangent point below surface level. And he thinks that's the world he lives in. What a stupid moron. Go out and look at a horizon, you stupid dumbass Zack. Notice I'm getting away with calling you a dumbass with total justification because you've put a white arrow with the word horizon next to this spastic point tangential to a ball. Now, does that look like a horizon to you, ladies and gentlemen, or is Zack just a retard? I'm going to go with the latter. Zack's a retard because he thinks by labelling this horizon, it's going to somehow represent that line that you see out in the distance where shit disappears because it's too small to frickin' see. Like a point of optical resolution loss. Calculable with the Rayleigh criterion. Maybe you'd like to look into it, Zack, you dipshit.
A distance of 6 miles away from our first person.
Sorry, 6 miles? As in a linear distance on a flat Earth again? You don't get to use our stuff, Zack. Now, it seems like you're new in town, I don't know who you are, and you've got a lot of subscribers, but the rules don't alter because you've got a lot of followers. It just means there's a lot of people obviously more stupid than you that watch your stuff. Now, let me tell you, the little man, the guy with a lot less subscribers, who's a lot more intelligent than you. You don't get to use our stuff, Zack. If you're going to try and decry the nature of reality being flat, don't use miles. That'd be a linear flat distance, you stupid boy.
And they'll clearly be in each other's line of sight just
So we're not in a line of sight in this orthographic representation. Go and look up what orthographic means, idiot.
by symmetry. So even if you
So there he is with his symmetry again. By symmetry? What you mean, is that your way of justifying the fact that this 6 foot man, yeah, by scale, has a geometric physical limitation to your view we debunked in 2020? When you see the side of your own head in an orthographic representation that's akin to your Earth curve mathematics, where you need to tell us where the horizon is. Now horizons don't look like this, do they? Maybe you've never seen a horizon.
How
Have you been
does all-
outside? Go ahead.
how does all things being equal, that is symmetry, how does that affect anything? What is he talking about?
He's saying that if you hold up a mirror to the guy, it's like a 6-foot man won't change in angular size, therefore it's symmetrical. In his stupid dumbass way, he's introduced this word to square the circle of things not changing at distance when he shows you the side of your own head. So he's called it symmetry.
Your friend is 6 miles away, 9.7 kilometers, way beyond the horizon.
Way beyond the horizon being a diffraction limit. You are ignoring when dealing with things orthographically like your Earth curve maths ignores perspective. Hashtag shit shrinks.
You'll still see the top of their head. And
oh, will y'all?
the quote drop in this case, like how much drop?
Drop from what? Well, from the horizontal plane of reference, you stupid retard. Go ahead. No? Oh, it was one deck trying to get in.
Drop we should expect, 8 inches per mile squared.
Yeah, that's a drop from a horizontal plane of reference, you stupid idiot. The surface level in your maths is what you'll be describing that drop from. Or alternatively, you'll be calculating a differential, I should say, from the eye level raised up from surface level when measuring your height of eye in feet off sea level. This is a flat earth prerequisite. You can't have drop of a surface that isn't flat if your axiomatic principle to describe the drop from is a horizontal plane. It's called surface level in your earth curve maths.
Gives us 24 feet. Yet I could see my 6 foot tall king of a friend. The drop doesn't mean you can't see objects under that height. It
doesn't mean anything when you're describing how we see the world in maths that's orthographic. How many times? This is idiotic. It's frustrating and painful when you keep going through the maths that they reify into a world that they can't see. They're not seeing Bob in the distance and the side of Bob's head while you see you in the foreground. Also the side of your own head, and a ball dangling beneath both of them, tangents, points, represented as a big white arrow saying it's a freaking horizon. This is all stupid. So every time it comes to him babbling on about how nonsensical the world would or wouldn't appear, comparatively to an orthographic view that's mathematically describing a curve below a surface level that's measured flat.
You absolutely can.
Well,
So
Nathan, you'll be pleased to know that later on he's going to tell us what perspective is.
Why? It isn't in the maths he's just asserted, because he's taken it from earth curve assertions in the begging the question proof of nothing perspective, hijacking earth curve mathematics that work in an orthographic view. So how's he going to tell us what perspective is? I mean, he's cut to this shot. I mean, does this look even remotely like this? Right, you see how this white arrow points at this and says horizon, and then we go to this. What the frick? That looks absolutely nothing like what you had diagrammatic. Do I need to put a giant, massive white arrow here for Zack the retard? And then put on this one, like a little line through this one, like an X. No shit for brains. What you thought was a horizon, you labelled wrong. That's not a horizon. Yeah, that looks nothing like. Find it. This! I'll put a big white arrow. This is a horizon. Yeah? Do I need to put a big bloody arrow on it? Why haven't you labelled this one? Is it because it looks absolutely nothing like the one that you're telling us this is? Oh yeah, we must be informed that this is a horizon. Yeah, because it isn't. This is your stupid, dumbass, shit-for-brains notion of a dangling ball in an orthographic view that hijacks perspective in a maths that uses a flat Earth surface level for its measurements. Right, dum-dum? So let me just do it for you. Let's put a big white arrow so this retard knows what an actual horizon looks like. You haven't labelled this one, dum-dum? It's because nobody needs it labelling, do they? When we see a real horizon, not an orthographic representation with the side of our own head. Where's the side of our own head gone? That doesn't seem to be in this view anymore, you stupid spastic. Is it just me, or was I expecting to see my own side of my own head? Where's that gone? Oh, it's vanished completely when I actually look at the world through my own frickin' eyeballs. I don't get to see my own head. Yeah, you know what? We dealt with this 8 years ago, Zack. It's almost like you're a retard very late to the party who gets every single flat earth search you do, sending you two dickheads just as stupid as you. Rather than to these subject matter experts like myself who point out your stupidity with an orthographic view that you'll never see. You're never going to get to see the side of your own spastic head. This is a horizon, you stupid boy.
Quote, horizon is totally expected.
Really? I was expecting to see the side of my own head. Like you had diagrammatically represented. Where did that go? Oh, it vanishes completely when hashtag shit shrinks. Why is this big? Why is this small? Why is, in this diagram, this dude the exact same fucking size as this dude? Is it because Zack's a spastic? I'm going to go with yes. Yeah? When we get to a horizon, there's no dude the same size as you. Yeah, this is representative of your field of view from your eyeball. What, a couple of mil? Now, we definitely don't have a dude the same size as us, because hashtag shit shrinks, you retard, taking the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking earth curve maths, like it's capable of reification. It isn't! You're dumb! When you actually go and look at the actual subject instead of just looking at every single bias-affirming clown like Simon Dan and Professor Dave explains. That's how you get fed when you do a search for this subject. What does that leave you with? Being chastised by me? Justifiably, you complete retard! You want to call this a horizon? Yeah, you're going to get called a spastic. This is fun, isn't it? I love calling YouTubers with millions of subscribers and followers a retard. Because you know what it says about every one of your dumbass viewers and subscribers? It tells me they're more stupid than you. That's what it says about them. They haven't recognised that this giant white arrow with the word horizon next to it looks absolutely nothing like a horizon. And when we get to reality, are you labelling this? Now, no need. You need to tell them how the orthographic view without perspective is a horizon. So it's got a giant white arrow and the word next to it. No, that'll get you making a, claw to the keyboard to make a video in response to me to tell me how right you are when you label up a bleeding tangent point as a horizon. I'm thinking no. I'm thinking you'll be telling me how this isn't going to be worth your time. Yeah, because you're going to appeal to the consensus of dumb fucks that are obviously more stupid than you. None of them have called you out for this, have they, Zack? But nice that all the bias-affirming view searches that you did for Flat Earth didn't bring you to me. Until now. Now I've got my audience telling you damn well just how stupid you are. What are you going to do, make a video about Nathan Oakley and tell me how wrong I am? Yeah, you can be damn sure that won't be happening. You'll be like every other terrified coward in the face of them being informed of how stupid they actually are. You won't make a response. You'll tell me, oh, I've got millions of views. The rest of the dumb fucks who watch me affirm how smart I am. When I've got nothing to reply about the orthographic representation of a horizon marked with a giant bloody white arrow. So let Zack know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that gets him to at least acknowledge by hopefully looking at what he's gone wrong with his assertions on a flat earth that he's been using the whole time with his kilometres and miles. Let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Maybe I'll be proved wrong, maybe. Go ahead.
Is he talking about the horizon that you can't get on a sphere and that's used to establish horizontal using the sea sextant with the horizon mirror?
Yeah, if you're doing any navigation for practical purposes, you'll need a horizon that's levelling out a tool for measuring angles to stars. Yes, that's correct. So I'm not saying it for my health. There's 75 people watching. Please let Zack know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by the YouTube censor bots or Zack himself. Hopefully he can come along and realise the error of his ways and just how stupid this white arrow was. Now, this is him telling himself and his dumbass subscriber base who will not help you when you tell yourself that, oh, right, well, lots of other people watched and nobody told me how wrong I was. Other than this guy who's just telling you how you got your maths wrong when you beg the question of a orthographic view. Yeah, he's going to correct you right on how to get the bullshit world of Dingleberry Earth correct. No one's going to tell you that this isn't a horizon, though, are they? Yeah, that'll be me doing that. Yeah? And how stupid do you feel when you look at this labelled horizon Dingleberry tangent point orthographically with you and your own head in view? Well, look like this, does it? Now, maybe you'll tell me I'm wrong, Zach. Yeah, I just don't understand, I'm sure.
Finds its own level. Yeah, this water looks pretty level when it's still. Yeah, it looks pretty level. Or when you have weirder container shapes. I don't know if you guys can see this, but the water is level. If I turn it a little bit, look at that. Water is level.
Well, welcome to Flat Earth.
Here's the actual answer to this.
Sorry, there is no answer to this. Sorry, no question was posed. Does this retard think he just asked a question? He went, there's the water, it's level. That's a statement of fact. There's no question being asked. When you're a retard baller, there is, though, isn't there? I can state an axiomatic principle as a flat earther, and not have to suddenly infer that my statement of an axiomatic principle is actually a question. To you, the retard baller, that's a question, is it? There's the water, it's flat. Question mark. What? No, that'll be an axiomatic principle you've stated as a fact.
How do you know this is perfectly level?
It's used in engineering. We utilise it when at sea, when we measure the surface with the water that forms the horizon as a surface level. Very useful tool, that water, for measuring an angle to a star, for instance, so you don't die at sea. I just say that again for Zach, who's a retard who thinks that he sees the side of his own head when he labels up horizons. You can measure the principle of this axiomatic fact you just stated so that you don't die at sea. You can measure the angle to the water forming the horizon, the one that you think dips away. Idiot. So yeah, I'm going to take you to a pretty specific use of the water and its flatness when it's measured that way with a sextant. It was brought up by my compadre Wandek a moment ago. Yes, so I'll take you to the life and death practical example of measuring water flat. And what are you going to tell me? That there's a question attached to your statement of fact?
To infinite precision. How do you know?
Because I can save my life at sea when utilising that fact.
How do you know it's not?
I can build a building with it. Much of the engineering that you're sitting on now, there's a good chance you used that axiomatic principle when being built. Are you a clown? Do you not understand and appreciate the environment around you has been levelled for you to be in it? Oh my God, you stupid shit for brains retard. Ed, whoever that was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, he's getting ready to say, how do you know the segment of a horizontal line is horizontal? That is the question he's building up to.
Not curving so slightly that we cannot perceive it. Just use.
If it was curving so slightly, it wouldn't be useful for building shit, would it? What are you babbling about? Have you got the slightest idea what you're talking about? You've just defied, by way of a contradiction in terms, the statement of fact you made when you held up the glass initially and held up a little kid's toy with all sorts of things to have the water be level in. Then you've made a statement of fact. Yeah, the water's level. Yeah, it is, yeah. Very useful.
Using our vision or even the most advanced equipment we have.
Like levels. They use water. Are you really this dumb?
Because equipment can only be so precise.
Can it only be so precise as to maybe put up a house? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are that precise.
How do you know?
Because you're sitting in a house that was built with that principle. Are you really this dumb? How do I know how dumb you are? Because you're staring at a freaking glass of water that you've just described the axiomatic principle of its flatness with, and are now asking how you know. It's an axiom.
The answer is, you don't.
Yeah, I do. You just told us earlier. So it's not the principle you described 30 seconds previously then. So which do I take? You saying you don't know, or you telling me the axiomatic principle statement of fact that's basically erected the building you're sat in? You say you don't know after telling us the axiomatic principle. That just sounds like you need locking up in a mental asylum. It sounds like you are deranged. You know what deranged means? With this look in your eye after you give us a shit for brains contradiction. Hello? You've just violated the law of non-contradiction, you stupid clown.
There goes longitude and latitude. Throw that global way, jerk off.
It could be curving ever.
It could be. Well, why did you tell us earlier that it wasn't? When you described the principle axiomatically and useful in building stuff of it being flat. It could be curving. It could be a contradiction in terms. It could be a violation of the law of non-contradiction. It could be a shit for brains retard. I'm going to go with the latter. Ged?
If it curves, there's no measurements for his globe. He can't curve that. Or he has to throw away latitude, dip angles, all the things that he thinks it proves sphericity.
If the water's, yeah, okay, good way of putting it. If the water's not level, how are you going to derive your height above sea level for your Earth curve maths? How are you going to describe the dip parallel to surface level, that's eye level, that you get in your height above surface level, to derive that dip from? If it's not level, how are you going to derive your Earth curve maths that you don't really understand, that you think you see just out of your own head with? Yeah, that Earth curve maths has got this axiomatic principle inherent to it. You look at the maths, it's got surface level in it, it's got eye level in it. Those are level. Dumbass. Yeah, it's involving the surface. Dumbass. Maybe if you stare at a glass of water long enough, it will be curving. What clown.
Ever so slightly. Or
No, it isn't.
Or it could be perfectly flat.
It's perfectly flat, but for the meniscus.
Take this, for example. Is this line of blue perfectly flat?
Oh, wow, you're going to zoom out and tell me that this is a section of a really big ball? I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go that you're a charlatan shit for brains retard who's looked at idiots like Dan and Dave and Craig and learnt this shit for brains retard way in orthographic view of showing a giant circle when zoomed in. But I'm going to go with no. Let's see if I'm right.
Or is it curving a little bit?
I'm going to say it's curving a little bit, therefore not straight. And if you're going to assert that it is straight, make you a liar.
Now, if you say it's flat, you're wrong.
No, I didn't. I said it was curving and you're trying to pull a bait and switch with a shit for brains retard technique that you've got from idiots like yourself when you search for this subject.
And if you say it's curving...
No, your gurus that are shit for brains, they gave you this. They told you this trick. Now, I say no, axiomatically. If it's curving, it won't form the base for an angle to save your life at sea, for a simple example. Now, that's a practical example where tools that people use, mariners, specifically the mariner's sextant, requires this axiomatic principle of level hold true. Now, what you're doing is suggesting that it doesn't. Well, you can suggest that, but for the fact that we measure Earth as a flat plane of reference. Not me, we. You included. You did it when you described kilometres, miles, and your height above sea level for your Earth curve maths assertion in orthographic view. So you require this axiomatic principle hold true when you pull this charlatan's bait and switch you got from other retards like yourself when searching this subject. Now, had you have come to me, you'd understand that the axiomatic principle within Earth curve maths requires surface level be flat. It's right there labelled surface level. It's not a wanker label like horizon with a giant arrow pointing at a curve with a tangent drawn to it when describing linear kilometres. No, not a wanker labelling of surface level, just surface level in your own maths and how it's absolutely fundamentally required to be level and to be the surface you will measure. So you will measure Earth flat. But what's this stupid shit for brains retardedness that he's got from Dave or Dan or some other dickhead? Oh, shock and awe! It's not really like it looks. It's almost like you were trying to bait and switch somebody into suggesting that a line that definitely is not flat is actually flat because you've zoomed in.
Then I call BS because there's no way you could possibly see that. I mean, these endpoints are at the same y coordinates, same height.
Y coordinates, as in what descriptions with respect to a Cartesian plane? It's almost like you sound vaguely like you're talking some sense, but I already know where you've got this from. I've been here 10 years. I know your primary sources too.
I hold a straight edge up to this. A digital straight edge looks pretty flat to me, but let's just zoom
Because
out.
it's digitally. Oh my God. It's digitally.
Look at that. We're
it's
on a
problem
circle.
with the digital zoom.
Yeah, he's taken retard boys like Dave and Dan and Craig, and he's given us this back to his however million subscribers. Okay, well done. So does this have a practical application then, Zach? Did Craig or Dave or Dan or whatever wanker you got this from, did they tell you how this gets put into a practical application beyond affirming your own belief in a sphere Earth that defies the axiomatic principle of level in this instance? Did they show you where they might actually use this to do something practical, like build a fucking house or save your life at sea? Some of the useful flat earth proving examples that I've given, for example, like the ones that will keep a roof over your head or stop you from dying. Or does this just only confirm your stupid shit for brains view that you've got from your stupid shitheads gurus like your Dans and your Craigs and your Daves? I'm pretty sure this has no practical application. Go ahead.
Well, this is where scale, becomes an issue, because he at this point is a liar. He's had to make himself a liar to try to debunk what he already knows to be true. He's
And why
having
is
to
he
lie
doing
to
it?
himself at this moment.
Yeah, and why is
Huh?
he doing it? Why has he become this liar? Because it's so big, we can measure it flat. Right? Oh, it looks like it's flat because it's just a really big ball. Therefore, in this clown shoe's mind, justification for then in future maybe measuring it flat. Oh, well, we can still measure it flat. It's a really big ball, so it's all good. To measure Earth flat, yeah, we just measure Earth flat. Now, the further you go into this subject, Zach, the more you'll realise that awful truth. That what you actually do when you come to measuring Earth is measure it flat. And then maybe somebody around you will say, oh, that's all right. You're allowed to measure Earth flat. It's because it's a really big ball that we measure Earth flat. And there are no actual ball measurements to measure. We'll measure Earth flat. But we're really standing on a really big ball. Look, if I zoom out in orthographic view, because Simon Dan showed it me.
The entire thing is curved. You just can't see that curve when you're very zoomed in. So basically what I'm saying is that water isn't actually perfectly level.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, water at rest finds its level. It's utilised in a lot of engineering principles, including your house that you're sat in. You stupid retard. Go and type in water level into your search engine and see what comes up. Do you think it's going to come up? Actually, I think you'll find you mean water curve. No, it won't do that. It'll try and sell you a few tools, though.
Whether in a
Does
cup
he
or...
realize?
Go ahead.
Does he realize that there is a tool called a level and it has liquid in it? Hello?
Google response. Actually, I think you mean curve tool for curving things.
This is where they all have to go. We all know this is where it comes to. Level has to be curved.
Let's
In
explain
their
this
world,
to me,
it
Zach,
has
right?
to.
You stupid retard. Zach, this is the only question I've got for you. Why, in unholy hell, did you just spend a significant portion of time justifying how flat it would seem, as opposed to giving us measurable curvature? Why didn't you just measure curve and show it us? If you want me, for instance, because I assume you're appealing to an audience, I'm your audience now. So if you want me, your audience, to believe you about your retard assertions of a surface that's curved, why have you spent a significant period of time telling me how justifiably flat you can perceive it? Just show me your Earth curve measurements. Give me them and I'll believe Earth's curved. You don't have any. I've been here 10 years. What we do have, and you damn well know it, Zach, is a measurement of Earth as a flat plane. And then an apology by retards like yourself for just how flat it's okay to measure it because it's so big. But the measurements are flat. That's a fact. There's no getting around it. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. We measure Earth flat, and then shit for brains, like Zack here, will justify it by saying, well, it's only because it's really big.
Especially in the next several. Another thing I didn't include in the original video that also makes no sense on a flat Earth is why constellations.
What do you mean makes no sense on a flat Earth? You've given us miles, kilometres, dips. Yeah? The geometric horizon you're asserting as an Earth curve, that requires a surface level. It requires parallel eye level. Why are you now telling us how flat Earth can't be when you've already used multiple flat Earth prerequisites? Is it you seeking your own cope? You don't want it to be flat? Go ahead.
Sounds like he's going to the stars, Nathan.
Let him.
Constellations change
The
throughout the
elevation
year.
angle is not going to help him.
And I don't think most people even recognize this. Like Orion's belt.
Right, you go into the stars. We measure these stars for navigation and mapping. We've charted the world with elevation angles measured off a flat Earth, you stupid boy. You're going to use stars? You having a joke? Only recently, we had quite a few delusional explorers down by antipodal assumption. That would be south, a direction only capable of describing with respect to a plane. They went south on a flat plane and then measured the angle of the sun with respect to a plane for over 24 hours. They measured a flat Earth non-stop in a place called Antarctica with elevation angles. That's recent. This is history in the making. Idiot clown shoes measure Earth flat with elevation angles to the sun. And you're going to go to Orion. Yeah, that's measured flat also. We have charted and mapped the entire known territories with respect to a flat plane using those stars. I used them as an example earlier as being useful for not dying at sea. Now, notice how you've just justified how flat Earth would be perceived, as opposed to give us some curve measurements. You haven't given us any practical application for it. Me, I'm saying you measure Earth flat and you can chart the world with that system. And then further to that, you can save your life at sea if you know how to use an angle to a flat water surface that forms a horizon to give you an angle to a star like Orion or any of the stars in Orion's belt to use for navigational purposes. Go ahead.
He could refer to a debate between Brian's Logic, our own Brian, and Mick Toons. He shows the measurements right in the beginning.
Good morning, guys.
Hello.
Morning.
Not visible all year long. It's only visible during certain months. And this makes perfect sense if the Earth is going around the sun.
Well, the description of it going around the sun is an orbital motion that's described from within a globe with angles on the equatorial plane creating a celestial sphere. Again, that's what I just described like 30 seconds ago when I said the world was charted with angles to the stars. Yeah, well, around the sun is inside a globe with the angles through a glorified protractor, like this would be described. The globes that I've seen occasionally have this as a protractor itself, like with the angles measured through it. Okay, well, that's because it's representing the celestial sphere. Let's just bring it up for my audience. This is how you'll describe equatorial orbital motion. From within the globe with angles from the equatorial plane. Because that's how they're measured. Now you can pretend that they've come from a surface tangential, like you described earlier, but they get transposed back into hell because that's how orbital motion must work. The line that the orbit is taking after creating it with the flat Earth angles to these stars bifurcates the globe. You can't be experiencing an orbital motion on the surface of Earth. No such animal can exist, nor does it exist in the maths. You're always describing orbits in Earth. So when you say around the sun, learn how orbits work, you stupid retard who doesn't know his own religion. You need a flat plane for that too. Same angles that I'm describing work from within the equatorial plane. Stupid boy doesn't know his own religion. Tell me they're working from on a motion around the sun. Dumbass. Learn heliocentrism. Round the sun, heliocentric. Helios, the sun. Centric, at centre. That's what you're detailing. These have got rules. Rules that require Earth be measured flat, son. For the angles to describe this maths. Dumbass. Did you not get this from Dave or Dan or wherever you got your stupid other shit from? Go ahead.
They use the sun as the orbital plane, and that they take their angles from the center of the sun in that description. So they treat the Earth as a flat plane to get the angle to the sun. Then they create another plane in the center of the sun and get the angles to the other celestial bodies and claim Earth is one of those in that system. It's ridiculous. Just to put the Earth in motion.
Watch. Earth, sun. During the day, you're looking at the sun. You cannot see the stars behind it. It is too bright. When it's nighttime, you're over here on Earth. You can see those stars, not these ones. If the Earth is here, you can never see those stars.
I hate this shit. This is a retard going through his own basic understanding of heliocentric motion once reified after the fact. He has no idea how the mathematics is derived. He's no idea how the angle derivation is acquired from flat planes of reference. This is a shit-for-brains retard's rendition of heliocentrism. Oh my god. You know how dumb you sound to me? You sound like a spastic. That's how you sound. You sound like... You might as well be talking like this. And you are on the other side of the board, and the sun is in the brightness, so you can't see the stars. That's how you sound to me.
How long have you known there are 2 points of rotation of the sun in the sky?
How long have I known
Why
there's
are
2
you
points
here?
of rotation of the sun in the sky? What do you mean there's 2 points of rotation of the sun
Yeah.
in the sky?
What?
Oh, I heard you
2
said so.
points of rotation
while
of the
back.
sun? You sure about what you're saying, buddy? Maybe
Oh,
rethink
you
that
said it
real
too.
quick.
You said it too.
Okay, what's the quote?
Oh, it's a while back. You were talking to what's his
won't be
name,
one.
Mighty Mouse, when you said it. You
Stop wasting your time with this idiot.
Fast
Get
forward
out of
6
here.
months. Boop. Now we're over here.
There's 6 months and then we're over here.
Now at night, when
Now the night time's on the other side.
you're on this side of the Earth, you can see those stars.
Where did you get the motion from? Where did Kepler derive this from? How did you derive distance? How is it scaled? Do you know any of the answers to these questions, you stupid retard? No, you do not.
You couldn't see 6 months ago. During the day, you're looking at the sun. You cannot see the stars over here that you were able to see.
Oh, really? No, the motion's described from within the ball.
6 months ago.
You're not seeing anything if you're in hell describing orbital motion.
Constantly changing, which makes perfect sense if the Earth is...
Really? If the Earth is what? A ball? No. The motion has been derived from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to these lights in the sky. That's where you get this motion. Now, I would educate your dumbass on where Kepler and Huygens actually invented this shit. But why? Why haven't you looked into it? You're the one professing it. It's called blind faith, son. Yeah? You are no better than the lowest rank of Scientologist. Just some guy or gal has invited you into the religion, you've got the broad strokes, and now you're sat on a YouTube video parroting them off. In case you were unaware, your sky vacuum religion is no different to their sky vacuum religion. They're one and the same. They're both heliocentric. You'd think you'd look into that, given that you have the same religion as the Scientologists. You'd think you'd understand that religion, or maybe look into its origins or how it works and functions. But no, you're giving us this third-grade rendition of heliocentric orbital motion. Pathetic.
Well, I would like to point to the rhetorical device of sunrise and sunset. Now, these are rhetorical devices that give us our day and night as we describe them, but they're only there as to measure angles of the sun with respect to the horizontal plane of reference. That's where we get the idea of rise and set from. It's from a flat Earth. Why are you attacking it?
Is going
Attacking
around the sun.
yourself.
Sorry, I thought you'd concluded.
Oh, I was just saying he's attacking himself when he attacks this understanding. You know, it's like chipping away your own foundation.
I don't know how to explain on a flat Earth. Wait a minute, I have seen the moon huge before, and then I've seen it small, so he's confusing me. Okay, yes, the moon does sometimes look big, and there's two reasons for that.
Who gives a crap? I mean, again, if this is going to turn into some practically used thing, then fine. But how the moon looks to you is kind of irrelevant. Who gives a crap?
First, the moon's doing an elliptical orbit around.
Really? How did you derive that elliptical orbit? That's a big, long description. Who came up with the elliptical orbit? Do you know? Mathematically, who invented it?
The Earth. So sometimes it's closer to Earth than other times.
According to who? How is this inferred?
And when it's closer to Earth, it's going to look bigger.
What? When what's closer to Earth, it's going to look bigger? The moon? So in your mind, you think the moon's what? Waving in and out in an orbital motion, do you? An elliptical orbital motion for the moon. I see. No. What a wanker. You haven't got a clue, have you?
But sometimes it's at its closest point to Earth, perigee, while it's also a full moon. When those two things line up, we call that a supermoon. And those have
apogee and perigee will need a flat Earth. Go on. Say again, John.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, apogee and perigee are with respect to a flat planar reference, not a curve.
Yeah. Stop using our stuff.
Happen multiple times per year. So you might just be seeing a supermoon. That supermoon won't change size throughout the night, though. Okay?
As who? You've got... That's not demonstrating what you've suggested in the slightest. You think that cartoon's going to cut it? No. You're going to need to actually back this shit. Now show that to be the case.
If you look at its angular size at moonrise...
What's angular size? Well, like, not actual size.
And high moon, same angular size.
High moon? What's that? Sorry, is that a new one? He's just rambled off his stupid top of his head.
That should not happen on a flat Earth. It shouldn't.
I think that's a Clint Eastwood movie. Oh, no, that's High Noon.
Even increase by
he's talking about the
head.
He was trying to describe it, the moon at its zenith, which is with respect to a flat plane, and how it's the same whether it's 1 degree off the flat plane or 90 degrees to the flat plane. The size remains the same. Who cares? Like, really, who cares? It's a flat plane then. Okay.
It should increase by a stupid amount. And it doesn't. We'd all notice that. But another reason the moon can look really big is just because it's on the horizon. If you see a full moon on the horizon, now it's behind trees and mountains, and your brain starts comparing it to things. So
when you see it on the horizon, it's behind trees. So not on the horizon then.
But your brain tricks you into thinking the moon is bigger than it really is.
Tricked you into thinking it's on the horizon. Do you know what horizon is? Well, we already know the answer, right? It's got a giant white arrow pointing at it. Yeah? Is that where the tree line is? On that tangent point.
On those nights where you see it and it looks really big, though, wait a few hours and then look at the moon again when it's higher in the sky.
What can I use this for? Will this help me if I'm lost? Will I be able to build a house with this? Will I be able to map the territory with it? What's this useful for?
It's going to look normal size. You'll think it actually got smaller. It didn't. It actually remained the same size, but the illusion is gone.
Who gives the tiniest of shites?
However, if the Earth were flat, the moon shouldn't look smaller when it's above us.
What in an unholy non sequitur is that? If the Earth was flat, the not actual size, that's angular size of the moon, wouldn't change. What's the moon? Anybody?
Wait, so that's cool. So by that token, so like on a flat Earth, if a car is driving away from you, it won't look smaller. Hashtag shit doesn't shrink, according to this guy.
It should look way bigger. Not slightly, way
Oh, my bad. I preemptively got it wrong. It should look much, much bigger on a flat Earth, should it? Why?
bigger. It doesn't.
Really? And we're measuring it flat. It is on a flat Earth. We've utilised elevation angles to the lights in the sky for some time. We've navigated and mapped the territory with them. What the bloody hell are you babbling about? We only ever utilise them flat.
Earth's not.
Your orbital motion is an example of that, you stupid clown. What do you think it is? Where do you think the measurements come from? Look at what orbital motion actually is. Where's it come from? And the moment you notice that there's a flat Earth being measured with the angles to the stars, you'll suddenly scratch your head and go, oh, well, how's that work then? And then when you're going to look into the motion derived from within a globe, you'll realise how stupid your reification fallacy is. That you don't understand. You probably don't understand what the reification is, let alone what that word even means.
Flat. Weird how you didn't show streetlights converging in the distance, as this shows exactly how perspective makes things appear to converge into the horizon. Okay,
So the guy was right, wasn't he? Because you don't have perspective in your begging the question, proof of nothing perspective hijacking orthographic view. Remember, he had a giant white arrow pointing at someone that you described as being, what was the word he used? Mirroring or something? Symmetry something or other? He was using
Symmetry.
Symmetry. All right. So when the person in the distance is symmetrical to you, that would be to say that they remain the same feet and inches value, even though they're 6 miles away, according to your description earlier. Now we're going to have something that completely violates that, aren't we? Roll on the violation of the law on contradiction.
I want to emphasize this hard. The word perspective is not a get-out-of-jail-free card that people use it as.
You don't use it, you stupid clown. Your maths doesn't have it.
You will ask, like, why does this look the way it does and not the way I think it should?
You think you see the side of your own head. Why are you offering an opinion on this? You are a retard. You think a horizon is a tangent point and that you can see the side of your own head when describing the line of sight, end quote you. So I'm not going to trust a single word that comes out of your spastic mouth in this regard. Why are you telling us this? Me, I can detail the Rayleigh criterion.
And people will say, oh, perspective.
Yeah, that's described with the Rayleigh criterion. Angular resolution loss at distance. It would form the horizon. Have you got any idea about these notions and concepts described in mathematics for angular resolution loss at distance? The diffraction limit? I highly doubt it.
Done. What do you want to talk about now? That could be the right answer, but it explains nothing. What if it's backwards? Like, you can't just say that and that.
But is you telling this person who's not even there what they can't do an answer to Rayleigh criterion, angular resolution loss, diffraction limits, perspective?
That's it. You can always explain further. So if you ever hear someone say just perspective, done.
Is this you haven't got a fucking clue what you're on about, so you're going to waffle on about what people can't do and what you'd expect from them when being asked a question? I'd expect this shit for brains retard to babble on about how you couldn't answer and how you should answer. Me, knowing about how perspective works, will tell you to go and look into the Rayleigh criterion, angular resolution loss, and diffraction limits. That's what I'll tell you to do. If you're looking at perspective, that would be the right course of action. Now, me, I've studied it. This guy is a retard, so he'll tell you what to expect from somebody like himself when asked about perspective.
Ask them to explain further. For example.
Okay, explain the Rayleigh criterion given that it is specific to perspective. Yeah? Go and let this retard, Zack, know. And give him a timestamp for his own spastic question and say, Zack, you invited answer to a question about perspective at 8 minutes and 27 seconds. Now I'm going to ask you, the spastic who didn't answer anything, what the Rayleigh criterion is. Let's see if he gives an answer. See if he acknowledges just how stupid he really is. Just how ignorant he is. Just how he is basically sharing his pain of a flat Earth with this video. Doesn't matter how dumb and ignorant he is of the entire subject. He can babble on about it and pretend he knows what he's talking about to an audience of millions, can't he?
This basketball I'm holding. Look.
Yeah.
What the hell does this have to do with perspective? Go ahead.
to toe the line with the regular rank and file ballers. He needs to assert that science doesn't prove anything. So, given that, and he thinks this is science, why is he trying to explain anything if he can't?
Looks bigger than that car super far away. Why is that? Perspective, sure. But that's not a real answer. That still doesn't explain why. So the real answer is because if I draw a line from the middle of my eyes to one end of the basketball, and then another line from the middle of my eyes to the other end of the basketball, that forms some angle.
Really? Why didn't you do that in this begging the question, proof of nothing perspective hijacking orthographic view that I've got up here? Why didn't you do that there? You didn't have two angles being formed. You had one line, tangential to the surface, dingleberry, we call it, dangling beneath. So no, you didn't draw any perspective in your orthographic view earlier. So why are you now suggesting that that would be the way you do it when you didn't do it that way? When you see the side of your own head. Yeah, it's because you're a retard and you haven't got a clue what you're talking about, and you've got all your information from other spastics on the internet. Spastics like Craig, McNeil, Dave, Simon, Dan. They're the retards that gave you this. Your audience that affirm your bias, they're all stupider than you. So they're not going to call you out on this.
If I do the same thing with the car, that angle...
Do the same thing with this, or what are you going to do? Describe it as being a reflection. What was the word he used? Mirroring or something. Symmetry. So now we've got angular resolution loss being calculated with a basketball and something further than the basketball. But yet when you actually got a basketball-shaped diagram, you've got one line. Just like your Earth curve maths. Yep. Let's just show him what we're talking about. This is your begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve maths. Can you see where it says surface level? Can you see where it says eye level? If I explained how axiomatically these two must run parallel so that you can derive the dip when measuring your height off sea level in reality and having an axiomatically parallel eye level to the surface in reality. Do you understand how your Earth curve maths, this is what you were relying on when you drew your stupid spastic diagrams, relies on a flat Earth being measured? It's right there in your own diagrams that you don't understand. Doesn't have perspective in it.
is smaller. Done. That's it.
So where's that in your Earth curve maths, shit for brains? Do you want to point that out in your Earth curve maths?
That is the real reason the car looks smaller.
That's because hashtag shit shrinks. A 3-year-old could understand this.
It's because the angle I'm looking at, or the angle it forms when I connect the ends of the car versus the basketball, is smaller in this case.
How are you going to measure that on a globe?
You need to be quiet, dude.
You need a flat Earth to measure this and describe it. Go ahead.
Exactly. It's angles are with respect to a Cartesian plane. All angles. Not a curve, dude.
Yeah, go and ask conspiracy cats. Right, conspiracy cats, you've come back on the scene, right? Go and let Zack know you're a teacher. He's a retard. Go and help him. Yeah? You'll give him a flat Earth, won't you, cats? For his perspective? Yes, because he'll damn well need it, won't he? Cats, the teacher. Can we all let conspiracy cats know on his new dumbass channel that he needs to inform Zack, this retard, he needs to educating by another baller about how flat Earth will be required when describing angular resolution? Yeah? You'll need a flat Earth for that. Cats will give it you.
That's it. So I've seen people say or ask, oh, hey, why does the moon and sun not change size as they approach us throughout the day?
Well, what would that help us with? Why does the not actual size of the sun not change in not actual size as it moves through its not actual position throughout the day? That seems like a stupid question to ask when I break it down for the idiot assertion that it would be.
If the Earth is flat.
Oh, and they add on to the end of that, why would the not actual size of the sun not change in not actual size as it moves from its not actual position throughout the day on a flat Earth? Really? Those people would be spastics, like you.
Who are the ones that are asking those questions? I remember those questions being directed at us for years. So is he talking about himself and his peoples?
I don't know. Maybe we'll get told how this gets practically applied to something like not dying at sea. I don't know. We'll see.
And you'll get comments that are like, perspective. No, that's not an answer.
But perspective used for what in practical terms? This just seems like a little straw man burning exercise that you're going through here, sir.
Dig further, because as things get closer to us, the viewing angle should be getting way bigger.
Really? So yeah, when you describe it as being symmetry and a 6-foot man at a distance that's, quote, not to scale, is this your own cognitive ineptitude? Go on, whoever that was.
Well, it's definitely a problem. It's definitely a problem because he's describing an apparent size not changing. Well, yeah, we all can observe that fine, but the apparent size is in a Cartesian plane, not a globe. This doesn't help you.
So if the moon is coming at us and it's not increasing in angular size, then why is it not doing the thing that all things do?
How hyper-specific of you. Why is it not doing the things that all things do? What a wanker. You want to try and actually describe or verbalise what you're trying to communicate to your audience? Why does this retard not do that thing that the retards do? You know, that thing that retards do? Why is he not doing that thing?
When they get
You're asking a lot.
I'm asking to know why he doesn't do that thing. You know, that thing that they do, the thing.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. You're right, retard. It doesn't make any sense. Why doesn't the moon do that thing that they say the thing it's going to do? I ask similar questions about retards and the things they do. Why do retards do the things they do? I have no idea. Maybe you could inform me. Why do you, a retard, do the things you do when you ask such ridiculous questions that make no sense? I ask, how is it possible to measure the angle of anything if you haven't got a flat earth to measure it from? And I invite you to go and ask Conspiracy Cat's a teacher. Who's off mute? Go ahead, whoever that is. Bushel. 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 Bushel.
But the street lights. There's another one. I can explain exactly what street lights will do, the whole perspective thing.
Because someone was asking you to, were they? Sorry, this is the mental asylum coming out of you. Nobody's asking you to explain what street lights do. How many times has anybody, in all honesty, had an experience in life where someone's come up to them and gone, excuse me, can you explain what the street lights do to me?
I can. They light up at night.
They light up at night. Is that the mental asylum conversations that they have in Retardville? Explain what those lights do. How do they do that? What, get smaller into the distance? Yeah, how did they do that? Tell me. Tell us, Zach.
With physical lines and angles, if you have a bunch of street lights, the angle I have to look to see each one is going down.
Really? With respect to a flat plane? Yeah, we can see that. You'll need a flat plane to describe these angles. Again, you seem to be taken after Conspiracy Cats. This is a flat plane of reference you're describing this with, my friend.
It approaches zero.
Zero being the flat plane.
Oh dear.
I think
You
this is
stupid
perfect,
retard.
because
Dead.
I mean, listen to what he has to say to his audience, right? To convince them that they're on a ball. You have to describe what you think street lights are doing. Okay.
Yeah, he's describing the angle diminishing to zero. Angle? What, like two straight lines meeting at a vertex at his eyeballs? Like a horizontal plane at zero, and when they reach and breach the 0 point of angle measured on a plane, they disappear? Yeah, that'll be really useful to describe in an orthographic view like on your ball here, with the giant white arrow pointing at the word horizon that resembles a horizon knot. So I'm going to be asking, where was these angles describing a flat plane that reduces to zero when you got your begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking, wires crossed, and saw the side of your own head? Because we see the side of our own head here, but we seem to be describing multiple angles with respect to a plane of reference. Yeah, you'll need a flat Earth to describe this perspective view.
What's a 0 degree viewing angle?
It's a flat Earth proof, you stupid clown. Don't use our stuff. A 0 viewing angle with respect to the flat plane you've got a 0 from.
The horizon.
Welcome to flat Earth. So the line on 0 for an angle, a flat straight line that terminates at the horizon. Yeah, welcome to flat Earth. Don't use our stuff.
That's it in angles. If you have a bunch of streetlights, the angle I have to look to see each one is going down. It approaches 0. What's a 0 degree viewing angle? The horizon.
That's beautiful.
Ruh-roh.
Couldn't have said it better
Ruh-roh.
ourselves. So welcome to flat Earth. You'll need a horizontal plane of reference for it to be an angle. It's a straight line. And at 0, it's a straight line between you and that point you're getting the angle from. Earth is flat for this description. Don't use our stuff. You're telling your audience how flat Earth isn't. Don't tell them about 0 degrees, flatness, and it being a horizon. Idiot. You're under the misapprehension that it's this horizon. So you're going to admirably describe a termination for an angle measurement that's practically applied to your descriptions. Yet you've also, in the same fucking video, got a white arrow pointing at a tangent point to a dingleberry beneath his feet. What a clown. Don't use our stuff.
That's it.
That's it. Oh, so welcome to flat Earth then.
I can explain all this perspective stuff with
a flat Earth. Yeah, you just did.
Physical lines and angles.
On a flat Earth.
Oh,
Eratosthenes' story is pure poppycock. How did he travel the long distances to get the picture? Hello, that never happened in that day and age. 700 kilometers. Did they use phones back before BC? It's a great question. It's a great question. How did they measure distances back then?
On a flat Earth, they're linear.
But instead of saying...
sorry, what are you going to tell him what about he's not saying? He's asked you how they measured distances. Give him the answer. Now, you don't know the answer. We don't know the answer. It was measured in stadia for a start. What's a stadia? Anybody? Yeah, who gives a crap? Nobody knows. Nobody's going to verify this.
I don't get how they could do that, therefore...
So therefore, you're just going to take it as read? Let's go through the method. What's Eratosthenes actually doing? Let's hear it.
It's fake. Let's look it up. I don't know. Let's look it up. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's look it up. Let's see what he does.
How did Eratosthenes measure the distance between Alexandria and Syene? Let's see. Wow. By taking regular strides to trek between cities. That's actually insane. That's mind-blowing that they did that. Let's see if we can investigate further, though.
Yeah, let's see.
Job measuring distance in ancient Egypt. I don't know. Hello.
Why? He's not asking you that. Why? Maybe you could ask a different question to AI and read out the answer. This is your life, isn't it? Google searching something and reading out the AI response. I mean, they just want to weed us out, don't they? They want us to not do primary source research or learn how to do proper research. This is it for now, right? Kids will learn this and that'll be it. AI says, blah, 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 blah. All right, did you verify that? No, AI said it. Well, did you challenge AI? Did you say that's wrong based on information you'd actually acquired in practical reality? No, I just took it as read. AI told me.
Oh, look at that. What is this? We're specialists in ancient Greece and ancient Egypt who measured distances by pacing. These guys accompanied Alexander the Great on his campaign of Asia. Their measurements of the distances traveled by Alexander's army show a high degree of accuracy to the point that it had been suggested that they must have used an odometer, although there's no direct mentioning of such a device. Look at that, guys.
So they knew how accurate it was by comparing it to the linear flat distances in kilometers or miles, right? So they referenced it back to how flat the distances would be if they were with scales that we knew today. And they were very accurate. All right, well, they'll be accurate on a flat plane then. The distances they're comparing them to are linear.
Just did cutting edge research. Sometimes the world's not intuitive. Sometimes things.
Did he just suggest that him doing a Google search was cutting edge research? Did he really just suggest that? My God, retards love to blow smoke up their own ass, don't they?
Aren't obvious. But what's annoying is when people say, I don't get how they could do that. I don't get how this works. So it's.
He haven't detailed how he did what he did. He measured angles with respect to a plane for the sun. At Alexandria and Cyan. That's what he actually did. Measure elevation angles.
It's all fake. You know what? I think it's time for me to say, don't be dumb, be brilliant.
You're not brilliant. You're a retard. Are you going to be the sponsor of somebody that's suggesting that they can educate people now? Let me get it straight. Brilliant will be sponsoring him, won't they?
Brilliant. Brilliant is a learning.
Brilliant. Who the fuck are you? You sponsoring a retard? This guy was a spastic. Do you think this is a good endorsement? It doesn't matter, does it? Brilliant couldn't give a shit. All they know is he's got millions of subscribers who are dumber than him, and they might give out money to Brilliant. So the fact that the endorser of this product is a complete spastic is neither here nor there, right? Brilliant, they just care about the numbers. Oh, you got 1.3 million subscribers. Does it matter if the person endorsing it is literally thick as shit? Nah, that don't matter. He's going to reach millions of people. Doesn't matter. They don't know that he's thick as shit. They wouldn't be following him if they knew he was thick as shit. So yeah, absolutely get him to promote Brilliant. Oh, I make you Brilliant. Go buy Brilliant app. Yeah?
The irony of a company named Brilliant supporting this guy, where he's the one who said earlier, what? Oh, water levels? Like water isn't always level? That's why they create water levels, huh? Interesting.
Gets around that many
Brilliant,
views, you can expect a few hundred comments pretty consistently. Even videos with a lot more views, still a few hundred comments. This video got 8,000. So let's read some of them. For my.
With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.